But I mean, again, Welcome, that's the freshest one. It's the last one finished a few hours ago after recording. And yeah, what did you guys make of this? We did the recap, and I mean, Maspil isn't taking a second get Welcome, but there is that sad stat that there hasn't really been a Gent Wevelgem winner in recent years go on to win the Tour of Flanders. So Maspilsen fans, the Tour of Flanders might not be the monument.
That's true. But Pedersen seems like such a weird one. Like, he wasn't firing on all cylinders at E3, you could say. But then he does really well here, so it's really hard to tell what kind of form we're going to get him in. We do get Dwars Door, of course, in the middle of next week to get another look at him. He's on the provisional start list. It's possibly gets taken off that for to get more rest. Van der Poel, of course, isn't taking part. Wout Van Aert is, alongside a very stacked Visma Lisa bike team. Wow, I actually said it correctly. I can't believe that. But
Well, I do approve this message. I can't.
yes, well, no, I think that Pedersen's a hard one to gauge how he's going to go at Flanders. You know, we were discussing how close is he to joining this Galacticos group. I think he's pretty close. I think he has gone well over long distances. We've seen that at World Champs before. I don't see any reason why Pedersen shouldn't be going really well at Flanders, other than, I don't know, maybe Dwars Door takes it out of him and he is just knackered for a really long event at the weekend. But I think the main question is how you defeat Van der Poel, because he's the main man that everybody needs to be trying to actually defeat. And to be honest with you, I just don't really see, well, you could say Pedersen, but I don't really see anybody really beating him, to be honest,
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to beat Van der Poel. His record in this race is just fantastic. In 2021 finished second. 2022 he won. 2023 finished second. So that's just an exceptional record. Pearson's got a good record in this race as well, but he hasn't won it. Van der Poel's won it twice. I just think Van der Poel's got that kick in him, and I think it's hard to compare Geen Wevelgem to Ronde, because Geen Wevelgem's a lot flatter, whereas Ronde has got a lot more hills, and I think that will favour Wout van Aert and Mathieu van der Poel over Mads Pedersen. But I mean, today in Geen Wevelgem, it looked like Van der Poel was kind of losing energy towards the end. He attacked really far out. I don't think he should be as sort of confident in that and attack all the way out, because we saw today that somewhat backfired.
Yeah, it did. It looked like Van der Poel was definitely struggling a little bit on that last descent of the Kemmelberg. Like, Pedersen was the one taking it to him. But without Poggy in this race, if you give the hypothetical like first and second to Wout, it does open up a third place for somebody else, and I would be quite surprised if it wasn't a Lidl Trek rider. I'm not just saying Pedersen, because I do think that Stuyven, like we've been saying, is looking really good. I think it's probably too hard for Milan, but I think Stuyven was really good at E3. You know, it's very easy to forget that he was top 10 in that World Champs road race last year as well. That's just a very under-the-radar performance, and I think that Lidl Trek have got a really strong possibility of finishing on the podium of Flanders.
My only thing with Jesper Stuyven is that he does not have a great record at Ronde. He's much better at Roubaix. The only top 10 he's ever got in Ronde van Vlaanderen was back in 2018. He's competed every year since then and hasn't really cracked the top 10. Apart from, 2021, he got top 5, but he's not very consistent in this race.
So, Patrick, were you saying Wout van Aert is for sure number 2? Because he was beaten by Mads Pedersen last year.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like still giving homage to Wout, no matter how much I do like to kind of like take a dump on his name sometimes. You got to kind of give respect to the guy that he is. You know, he is a Monuments winner. He is very good at cobble races, and just because of one oopsie on E3 doesn't mean I'm going to write him off completely, especially with such a strong team. I just think that Visma Lease Bike have got to play it a bit smarter. I think that E3, they just ended up going with a "we are working for Wout" strategy, and that did not work, basically. I think they've got to play it a bit smarter with Jorgensen and Tratnik, who just seem to not play very protagonistic roles in E3, and I think that was a mistake of Visma Lease Bike. They've got to make use of their numbers, because let's face it, Van der Poel, when you whittle down the team strength, Visma Lease Bike is stronger than Alpecin de Koenig, so you've got to use that advantage where you can, because evidently Van der Poel is better than Van Aert on these kind of days, shown by his record in this race. So I think Visma Lease Bike have got to go back to the drawing board a little bit and go back to how they did on loop and bring that to Flanders, and I think that's going to be better.
How does Mathieu van der Poel win it this year? If he did look a bit weak on the Kemmelberg, okay, it's a week out. We don't know if he was just using this as a tune-up as well. But, I mean, yeah, Maspil doesn't look strong on the Kemmelberg.
But the Kemmelberg is not the most influential climb of the Ronde van Vlaanderen. And on Friday, Mathieu van der Poel was easily the best on, the Quaremont and the Paterberg, which comes up in the Ronde van Vlaanderen. I think van der Poel is a lot stronger than it seemed at Gent-Wevelgem. It's not a race that he's naturally clicked with as much as the Ronde van Vlaanderen. So I hold my sort of doubts that he's not on tip-top form. I think he is. I think he's looking really good, and he can kind of win it from a number of situations here. He could win it in a reduced sprint. I know he lost it today in Gent-Wevelgem in that scenario, and he also lost back in 2021 to Casper Asgreen in that scenario. But I think he's capable of holding it in a sprint and also definitely distancing people on the other Quaremont.
So he wins Ronde van Vlaanderen, except if he turns up in a sprint with a Danish guy, then he's definitely losing.
Pretty much. It's a good thing Jonas isn't here. Imagine that, Jonas beating.
How many Danes are on the start line?
I mean, I don't know. There's a few in Tudor Pro Cycling, I think he could...
Oh, Alexander Kamp. I'm not sure if he's going.
Is Casper Pedersen going? Like, he could be the real kryptonite.
I mean, Asgreen, but he's done it before.
No, let's be realistic.
No.
The way Van der Poel wins is he just leaves it as late as possible for that final kind of double ascent of the Ardequermont of the Paterberg. That's the killer combination. Everyone's on the knees. You stick the knife in on the Ardequermont and you twist it on the Paterberg. And that's the simple combination which seems to have worked really well for Van der Poel. I think it's really up to other teams to disrupt Van der Poel beforehand to try and make it not just a walkover for him to try and win. If you just roll to the bottom of the Ardequermont and try to, get Wout to just ride hard to drop Van der Poel, it's not going to work. I think you got to try and do something a little bit different. You got to get somebody else up the road beforehand that they can just sit on Van der Poel, and hopefully that tires him out so that you can drop him. Because it's not going to work if you just wait for him to he's going to drop on the Paterberg. Because I don't think he will, to be honest with you. Van der Poel, I think as long as he doesn't take Pedersen to the line, basically, I think he's going to be all right to win in a sprint amongst everyone else.
But does Pedersen have it in him to sort of hold on to Mathieu's wheel up at Ardequermont Paterberg kind of boom attack? I don't think he does. I think Wout does. I'm not necessarily convinced Pedersen's...
You think Wout does? I don't think either of them have it, to be honest.
Well, out of the both, I think Wout van Aert's probably stronger. On an Ardequermont's kind of climb, I think Wout is probably stronger than Mads Pedersen. Also, his name was brought up earlier on. Casper Asgreen, have you seen his form this year so far? It has been dreadful.
So he did front today.
Well, he didn't finish on low. Gunnar Brussel-Kuhne finished 88. Dada Bianca, decent result, 16th overall. Idri on Friday, 77th, and today in Gent-Wevelgem, 54. That's bleak for a man who's won Idri in the past.
Wait, what? I thought he was going to be up there, but obviously it was a sprint, so he probably didn't care in the sprint.
I mean, a name to throw out there who was able to follow, he was able to follow on the Poggio it's not just a meme, it's Bettiol. Bettiol, when Pogacar went and Van der Poel followed on the Poggio, Bettiol was pretty much the only person, alongside Gano, I guess you could say, to be able to follow that attack. And Bettiol, of course, we haven't seen him at all this week because, in E3 he DNF'd for some reason I'm still not entirely certain on. But we're going to see him at Dwars Door and maybe Bettiol. I mean, he's won this race before.
I was almost about to say, what the F has Bettiol done at the Tour of Flanders, but then I remembered.
well, disrespect.
Oops.
This race. I mean, Sebastian Langeveld isn't here, though, to block into the final ascent to the Paterberg this time, but maybe Bettiol could be a name. I'm just looking at the start list, just trying to find somebody.
Bettiol had the legs to hold on until the end. Has some respect in his name. Casper Asgreen couldn't catch him.